Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is a very special episode. We're going to be talking about my favorite pen of all time. This pen is the Noodlers Konrad in Apache tortoise. It matches the color of my cat's eyes and my entire house, which is a truly amazing aesthetic. So it has a hand sliced ebonite feed. It has vegetable resin like body, which is honestly pretty stinky when you get it, but you can just wash it off. And it was $20. This pen was $20. Like all other flex pens that I've ever seen are around $100 at their cheapest. Usually you can just just find a vintage pen. Yeah, but those don't always work. This one does. And this one matches my Hunter Global nib, matches it perfectly. This one's just a little bit thicker than this one, because, you know, it's not the same exact nib, but it acts the same way. And it has the same flexibility, and it is the most reliable writer that I've ever had. And since it has a demonstrator, you can see exactly how much ink you have left, and you know exactly when you have to refill it. I love this pen. I'm going to do a demonstration right now of how this thing writes, because it is beautiful. Right now I'm going to be writing on this paper, which is the Fabriano Who Knows. It's the one that you find at an art store for $3 and decide to buy it, even though you shouldn't, because it was tearaway paper and you thought it was a journal. Anyway, I'm just gonna write what its name is. I'm gonna do some tests, or it's not really a test because I've used this pen for literally four months straight. So I know how this thing writes, but we're just gonna do it. I'm gonna start off with a thin, the lightest pressure I can do, just so you know how this thing writes. Right now, the ink in this pen is the Noodlers Akhmatova. All right, let's get started. And when it doesn't work, that usually means that you took it out of the cap too long before you started writing. Oh, look, and you just have to tap. All right, I'll shut up now. I'm gonna start a new line. All right, George. George has decided to leave the window. George, I'm recording, George. You cannot take my towel. Or my frog. No, George. Bad boy. All right, and you could hear how smooth this is. Listen. Not you. This is easily a European fine when it comes to the lightest pressure it can handle. And now we're going to go into the calligraphy part, which is honestly really fun. I wouldn't suggest trying this as your first dent into calligraphy, because honestly you can ruin this nib very easily. One time my sister decided to try this nib after I told her how amazing this pen is, and she almost broke it after doing it like this, and then like this, and this will break your pen. This will utterly destroy it. All right, now I'm just gonna... And it's so easy to get that thick boy hours. And you can adjust this pen very easily. The nib and feed both come out extremely easy, because that's how you clean it and that's how you decide how thick you want it. But there comes a catch with being able to take out the nib and feed and adjust it however you want. If you take the nib out too much from the feed, it will burp. And I didn't know that for a couple days, so I was wondering why there was so much ink in my cap. And it turned out I just didn't push it in far enough. When a fountain pen burps, that means that all of the ink in the barrel will go into the cap once you close it. And then when you open it back up again, psh, everywhere. A mess, an absolute mess. But look how far this thing goes. Of course, you're gonna see some railroading if you go too fast, like what's happening right now. All you have to do when that happens is tap, 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 and then go slower. and maybe not flex as much when you're first starting. See, now it's going. Look how gorgeous that is. Oh my God, I love this pen. It is so easy to get the variation in line with, and that was exactly what I was looking for literally years, because I tried the Pentel Pilot brush pen thing, and I love it, or I loved it for a time, but it was honestly just too thick for me and too hard to use. I would compare this to the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen, to be honest with you, but better because it's not disposable. It's literally engraving the paper. This is a piston filler, so that means that when you unscrew this, and when you're filling it up, you screw it, and then you submerge it fully into the bottle. It goes up into the barrel. You can't use a cartridge with this. It's very eco-friendly, by the way, this pen. Packaging was literally a box and a piece of copy paper and a bag for the pen that was plastic, but still, and that was it. There was no frills. However, when you're filling up your pen, that's great, but when your ink starts to get low, right now it's about halfway full, you can tell once it starts getting sloshed around. This is a pretty thick ink right now that I have in here, so that's why you're not seeing it as easily. But if I hold it up to the light, I can see that there's some light in there. So what you do when it gets to about halfway full is you have to push out the air to make sure that it doesn't burp. So what you do when you do that is you just twist this part, and you're gonna see some bubbles, and that's okay. Until you get all the air out. This is going to make a little bit of the ink leak out into the nib, and that's okay. If you want a wetter line, do that too. It's literally just pushing the ink onto your nib. Okay. So that's it. But if you don't do that, it's going to burp. And you have to make sure that this is well greased. Did you hear the little creasing and the creaking that happened earlier? That was because this thing needs to be greased regularly. I have tuning slide grease, which is what I use, but any waterproof greaser will work perfectly. Don't grease this pen, it will not open. This thing did not open for a literal hour. I had to use pliers, a kitchen towel, a pencil, needle. I had to use my teeth. I caused some marks to get onto here. It was not very fun for me. So you see these grooves right here? These are actually pretty not smoothed down. Listen. And they're pretty out there too. If you hold your hand like this and you don't have small fingers, I would say, or you don't have a comfortable grip, or you hold it like this, I don't know. If you don't hold your hand like that and you hold it like that, it's gonna hurt. I've spent hours on the maintenance of this pen. Don't get me wrong, this pen is a pain in the butt, but it's worth it. I can't go back. It's too smooth. My number one gripe with this pen is that how much maintenance it needs. It needs maintenance all the time, and you can't not give it to it, because otherwise it's going to fail you, and it's going to hate you, and it's going to destroy your life, destroy your art, and you're going to be very, very sad. So I would not recommend this to anyone who hates inky fingers and everyone who's never had a fountain pen before and who doesn't want to learn how to use it. All of the reasons that I wouldn't recommend this to someone, it not being beginner friendly, it being a lot of maintenance. Other fountain pens don't have this much maintenance at all. Lamy Safaris, they'll take you maybe 10 minutes. This pen will take you 3-4 hours if you don't know what you're doing. Even longer. You might break it. And you have the willingness to learn what this pen does, and you're not afraid of it breaking. Anyway, back to the story. So this pen is great. I use this to draw art. I have lots of art, which I will put up on the screen for you right now. All of the things. This is my everyday carry pen. You can't use a cartridge, which is a pain for other people. For me, I don't even have any cartridges, so it's fine here. But basically, if you want this pen and you know what you're doing with fountain pens, I think you should try it out. You might want to get a cheaper fountain pen first, because they have fountain pens for literally $5 or less. You might want to try one of those out first just to see what you're getting into fountain pen wise, because this is a whole different medium. So the reason why I love this pen so much is every time I pick it up, it just makes me want to draw. And it's never like something professional or something like, oh my god, it has to be perfect. It's just, hey, draw with me. Like, I have better pens than this. I have a Lamy Safari. I have vintage gold nibs. This is the pen I use because this is the pen that makes me actively want to pick it up and create something. And I think that is my number one reason of why I love it so much. And I think that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Noodlers Konrad and Apache tortoise. I'll leave a link in the description. And you might want to read the reviews on there too, just to make sure that you absolutely know what you're getting into. Because again, I don't think that this is a beginner-friendly fountain pen at all. And you get ink all over your hands. And that's about it. I just washed my hands. I just dropped this on the floor and it was fine. So again, everyday carry. Woo! All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the demo that I did. And thank you very much. Bye-bye. Have a nice time.